It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Your emails as well at randykabc@gmail.com. That's randykabc@gmail.com. It truly is debate week here on KABC. On Tuesday, we previewed on this show and then aired the presidential debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. And then last night, we took your calls in reaction to that debate. Well, while that was going on, I was aware of another debate that I knew that was happening in Los Angeles County. Dare I say, an even more important debate than the one that was heard the other night. And for the past 12 hours, all I have been doing is this.
Do a Google on YouTube.
An hour later.
You can come up with data on YouTube.
And again.
Do a Google on YouTube.
An hour after that.
Do a Google on YouTube.
I kept doing a Google on YouTube because I was waiting for the Jewish Federation of Los Angeles to upload the video of their Zoom debate between Nathan Hochman and this guy.
Whoa.
This guy.
Right.
This guy.
We got some wobbly knees allies.
This guy.
Quite frankly.
George Gascon and Nathan Hochman. I don't know how many of these debates they're going to do. I certainly hope one of them is on the television and not on Zoom because, well, the quality isn't great.
Do a Google on YouTube.
But I have sound from this debate. I have questions that both of the candidates asked. And what I want to hear from you, as we are very close, 53 days away from Election Day, less than a month away from ballots getting into your mailbox, who you're voting for in the LA County District Attorney's race if you live in Los Angeles County. I want to talk to the actual voters here. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. And guess what? If you're undecided, that's great, because I'm going to play you some sound so you can hear what each candidate has to say. Now, I am well aware that there are a lot of people that were supporting Hochman that were very pissed off because he said that he was endorsing Kamala Harris for president. I understand that. Okay. Still, you got to pick one of these people, or I guess you can leave it blank. That's a choice too. So if you'd like to do that, well, call me and tell me all about it. Let's hear what Nathan Hochman has to say about our current system of criminal justice.
At the heart of this race are some
This debate was on Zoom from the Jewish Federation of Los Angeles, hosted by Alex Cohen. Who's that lady on Spectrum?
At the heart of this race are some very fundamental questions about the criminal justice system. Here in the year 2024, what do you believe is working? What is not working? And why do you think that is? 1 minute. Mr. Hochman.
I'm sorry?
And of course, what happens whenever we do a debate on Zoom? People forget that they're muted.
You on mute. Go right ahead.
I'm sorry. Here's what's not working. Extreme policies on both ends of the pendulum swing. George Gascon's decarceration blanket policies that say certain criminals and certain crimes will not be prosecuted, not because the facts of the law change, but because of his personal political agenda.
How dare he insert politics into this office?
I reject that. I also reject mass incarceration policies. They failed as well. I come down in the middle, and I call it the hard middle, because you've got to look at each case individually.
Yeah, I would find a better term for that. That's a weird one.
Look at the defendant's background. Look at the impact on the victim and the crime committed to determine who the true threats are to our public safety and need to be behind bars and the ones that aren't. Your first-time nonviolent offender can very well serve their debt to society, and they have to serve it with a community service, diversion programs if they have a serious mental illness or drug addiction, or restitution if they steal, pay it back. The hard middle is the correct approach.
Come up with a better term for that. But okay, Nathan Hochman thinks Gascon's gone way too far, but he doesn't want to go all the way back to the 90s. So, okay. I mean, it's a difference from what we've got now. Let's hear what we've got now.
Mr. Gascon, to you, 1 minute for what is working, what is not, and why in our criminal justice system.
Georgie, you're on mute. You're on mute. You're talking and no one can hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Oh, God. This is embarrassing.
Okay, what is working is that for the last 3.5 years, we've prosecuted over 100 dollars. serious and violent crimes with very successful rates of conviction.
See, what you don't understand is George Gascon has actually been prosecuting crime this entire time. All of this, he's not doing his job. All of these blanket policies, not prosecuting juveniles, not prosecuting enhancements, that's all BS. George Gascon is a tough on crime prosecutor.
What is working is that when we began to have a national problem with organized retail theft, we became part of multiple task forces that we have prosecuted over 11,000 cases involving organized retail theft. And
wait, wasn't that the task force that Gascon was not invited to? The one that Karen Bass put together?
Involving organized retail theft and holding people accountable and ensuring that those that are committing these crimes are being held accountable.
What does that mean?
What is working is that when we have problems with hate crimes, we have gone after that and we're leading the state in the way this.
Well, that's an interesting one. Because one of George Gascon's original directives was to no longer charge enhancements for hate crimes. And then every single organization, probably including this one, said, hey, what the hell are you doing? And he backed away from that one pretty quickly.
Problems with hate crimes. We have gone after that and we're leading the state in the way this case are prosecuting. Also, what is working is that we're working to support victims by adding additional victim representatives. We're working in Sacramento to ensure that we continue to develop legislative bodies that help us, like, for instance, in the case of organized retail theft.
I saw you up in the Capitol. George Gascon was at a part of a hearing on how we need to expand restorative justice nationwide, which is if you perpetrate a crime, instead of paying your debt to society, you two have some group therapy and hug it out. I was about to say hug it out, B.
Well, we just have 10 different legislation, some on that we endorsed and all that we supported in order to address the problem with organized retail theft. What is also working is we're bringing equity to a place that a lot of the equity issues were not being addressed.
So you need to understand is George Gascon is doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing. He's doing it great. Everything is fantastic. Now, Nathan Hochman, I'm sure you'll hear it in one of these clips. He uses a term, gaslighting Gascon. It's pretty good. Hard middle, I'd come up with a better term than that. But hey, I'm giving you the two candidates for LA County District Attorney. If you live in LA County and you plan on voting in this upcoming election, you voting for Gascon? You voting for Hochman? You leaving it blank. Give me a call, 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. All right, Gascon, how about the fact that you don't like to charge those enhancements for like guns or gangs?
And that is time. We will start this next question with you, Mr. Gascon. According to reporting in the LA Times, you have filed felonies at the same rate as your predecessor. And yet one key difference that many critics cite is your approach to enhancements, which can add years to a sentence. Would like to hear your thoughts on enhancements and their effect not only on a criminal, but also on the community. You have 1 minute to respond.
All right, Gascon, tell us all about enhancements.
Yes. First of all, I'm glad that you raised the fact that we file felonies at the same rate and we're getting convictions at very much the same rate.
Yeah, nobody's buying that. If you're quoting the LA Times, good luck.
And we continue to work on those cases aggressively. We use enhancements when it is...
Gascon is tough on crime. I don't know if you knew that.
We use enhancements when it is appropriate. We have filed over 12,000 gun enhancements, for instance, in cases where it is appropriate. But what we're not doing is what the past we used to do was sometimes we even filed gun enhancements in cases where a gun was seen but was never found.
So wait a second. If there is evidence, there's testimony that a gun was used in a crime, but they ditched the gun, you're not going to charge the gun enhancement? Georgie, I don't know about that one.
We got some wobbly knees allies.
This is also the same guy that doesn't want to use a gun enhancement if you pistol whip somebody, because that technically isn't a gun crime.
We're also ensuring that we are mindful of the fact of the problem with...
Who are you, Gavin Newsom?
The fact of the problem with wrongful convictions. We are looking for ways to ensure that our convictions are clean. We're also looking at things like diverting people when they have the opportunity to get to a better place.
Which is most people.
We're also addressing issues of environmental justice. We're addressing issues of wage theft, which is the biggest theft crime in our county.
Okay, so the question was about enhancements, and George Gascon is talking about wage theft. The biggest crime committed in the county is wage theft. Okay, then.
We're also addressing the issues of police accountability. We want to make sure that system accountability takes place as well. The bottom line is that there are many things that we're doing that continue to work, and there are new things that we're doing that are brand new and are also working. And that is why when you look at the crime numbers for the city of LA, LAPD just recently published their numbers.
We will be getting to crime numbers later this evening.
Yeah, hold your horses, Gascon. That's not what we're talking about right now. But yes, according to Gascon, he does file enhancements, and he's doing a great job at it. Okay. Wow. I must have totally misread everything that's gone in the last 3.5 years. If only I didn't watch and listen to the local news every single day and see what actually happens with these cases. All right, Hochman, time for your bite at the apple. Tell me about enhancements.
Mr. Hochman, you have 1 minute to talk about the topic of enhancements.
Certainly. Please don't let George Gascon gaslight you tonight. And he will do it in many.
That's a pretty good line. Hard middle, a hard pass. Gaslight Gascon, I like the alliteration.
Certainly. Please don't let George Gascon gaslight you tonight. And he will do it in many different ways. Enhancements is a perfect example. So if you are a part of a gang and you are engaged in a gang-motivated violent crime, George, for decades, starting literally in the 1990s, you could have an extra penalty, an enhancement put on your sentence, which deterred people from joining gangs. It weakened the strength of gangs. But George Gascon comes in, and he says, based on his political agenda, not the facts and not the law, he will no longer impose gangs and enhancements on gang members.
You don't understand, Hochman. Gang enhancements are racist.
So what has been the response? Gangs have gotten stronger. Gangs have been able to recruit more. In fact, the people they are recruiting are the 16 and the 17-year-olds. Because one of the other things that George Gascon has done is said he's not going to prosecute most juveniles for the most violent crimes that they will commit. So the gangs are not done. George Gascon has been a gift for gangs. And that is one of the key.
Also, good line. George Gascon has been a gift for gangs. That is some great alliteration.
And that is one of the key enhancements he refuses to impose, even though the state legislature has given that tool and has been effectively used by DAs for literally decades. The same could be true for the gun enhancement. Why he won't impose the gun enhancement if you use it during a crime? It deters using the gun.
And
Mr. Gascon.
That is our time.
So there's Hochman saying, no, Gascon's not filing these things, and not filing gang enhancements has been, well, a boon to the gangs. Now, of course, the way that these things go is if you attack somebody, then you get to rebut. If they attack you, then you get to rebut. So let's hear a little bit of this before we move on.
And because you repeatedly cited Mr. Gascon by name, Mr. Gascon, it is your opportunity if you would like 30 seconds to respond, or we may move on to the next question.
And it's an interesting strategy because you could go through this whole debate, get as much time as possible, and just say, my opponent, my opponent, my opponent. But if you say him directly, he gets more time to respond. But if you know whenever your opponent's going to respond, he's going to say something crazy.
Look, it's horrifying.
Well, you might want to let him talk more.
I would, Alex. Mr. Hochman struggles with the truth. Tonight he failed.
Nathan Hochman, he's calling you a liar.
Tonight he fails to understand the role of the district attorney, and he continues to look for ways to address the issues by sloganism, by half-truth, and by lies.
By what?
By sloganism.
Sloganism?
By sloganism.
What?
By address the issues by sloganism.
I don't know what he's saying. Let's go back to this.
Address the issues by sloganism.
By a sloganism?
That's a no-no.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Address the issues by sloganism.
Okay, we're changing the topic right now. 800-222-KEBC, 1-800-222-5222. What the hell did George Gascon say? Yes, 800-222-KEBC.
Address the issues by sloganism.
What is this term? What is he saying?
By sloganism.
By a sloganism.
No.
I don't know what that is. If you could tell me what George Gascon is saying, I would really appreciate it.
By sloganism.
800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. We'll try to figure out what the hell Gascon is saying, and we'll get through the rest of this debate. I'd also love to talk to you. Who are you voting for? We've only got a few weeks to go, and this is the most important race in LA County. Are you voting for Gascon? Are you voting for Hochman? Or are you leaving that ballot blank? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. We're taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. What the hell did George Gascon say?
By sloganism.
I don't know what that is. And I'm somebody who spent many years deciphering Jesse Jackson. I can't tell what this is.
By sloganism.
If you do, give me a call, 800-222-KABC.
Yes, sir.
Okay, actually, I want to hear, are you voting for Hochman? Are you voting for Gascon? Are you leaving the ballot blank? If you live in the county of Los Angeles, how are you voting in the district attorney's race? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222.
By sloganism.
I have no idea. Let's go to Joe in Santa Monica. Joe, hello.
Hey, hi, Randy. I'm voting for Hochman, and I can understand why he proclaimed who he was going to vote for president, so his opponent couldn't say that he was a Trumpster. It makes sense to me.
Well, you know what's funny, and we might get to the sound later, Joe, but at the very end of the debate, Gascon got the last word in his closing statement, so Hochman was not able to rebut it, and literally Gascon called him a Trumper.
Well, he may be a Trumper, but he's proclaimed that he's voting for the other person. So, hey, Randy, thanks for this is a kind of a fun interview. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, always glad to hear from you, Joe. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. Are you voting for Gascon? Are you voting for Hochman? Are you leaving the ballot blank? Give me a call in the LA County DA's race, 800-222-KABC. As an added bonus, what the hell did George Gascon say?
By sloganism.
I don't know. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Okay, let's get back to the rebuttals.
By half-truth and by lies. And I understand that is very consistent with his Republican background and certainly the people that gets...
Okay, it is true. It is very true that Nathan Hochman used to be a registered Republican, and now he has claimed that he is a registered independent, as are a lot of people. Do you know who else was a registered Republican for many, many, many years? George Gascon.
I understand that is very consistent with his Republican background and certainly the people that gets that support him in many places. But the reality is that when you look at the crime numbers,
Oh, yeah, that's Gascon's tick. He's always got to tell you what reality is.
The reality is that when you look at the crime numbers, you look at the way that we're filing cases, the way that we're prosecuting cases, none of what he's telling you is true.
All right, that is 30 seconds. And Mr. Hochman, as you just heard, he spoke about you. If you would like 30 seconds here before we move on to our next question.
All right, Hochman.
Certainly. Look at the California Department of Justice's statistics that Mr. Gascon won't cite, dealing with all the different types of crimes involving enhancements as well. Violent crime, property crimes, shoplifting, hate crimes, human trafficking, fentanyl murders. They are all of double or triple digits. Mr. Gascon isn't, when he finds a fact he doesn't like, he just gaslights you and says, don't trust your experience, don't trust the California Department of Justice statistics. Trust me, George Gascon. I'm telling you the truth. That is as far from the truth as you're going to hear tonight.
There you go. You've heard what Hochman had to say. You heard what Gascon had to say. My question to you at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222 is this. In the LA County DA's race, are you voting for Gascon? Are you voting for Hochman? Are you leaving it blank? What are you doing? Who are you supporting in the LA County District Attorney race? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to Jackie in Arcadia. Jackie, hello.
Hi, hello. So I'm definitely voting for Hochman, and I believe he said sloganism, which I think he probably meant platitudes. Sort of like he
Let's give it a listen and see if you're right, Jackie.
By sloganism.
You say it's by sloganism?
By sloganism.
Yeah, sloganism.
I think you got it right. I never heard that term before, but I think you guessed correctly what the hell George Gascon was saying.
Yeah, I've never heard that term either.
That's a good one. So you're going all in on Hochman.
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the call, Jackie. Appreciate it. Yes, sir. That was a special one. And yes, as soon as we went to commercial break, I had to text that. I have a chat thread with Tim Conway and Brian Whitman and Gina Grad, and I had to send them this and said, what the hell is George Gascon saying?
By sloganism.
800-222-KABC is the phone number. The DA's race is the most important race in LA County, probably. Are you voting for Gascon? Are you voting for Hochman? Are you leaving it blank? Tell me how you plan to vote in the upcoming DA's race. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. And you can email us at randykabc@gmail.com. That's randykabc@gmail.com. The debate audio has been posted.
Google on YouTube.
Gascon versus Hochman. I've already played you some of the sound. We'll play some more of it. We'll also play some more on Johnny's show tomorrow from noon to 3. I want to know, in the LA County District Attorney's race, are you voting for Gascon? Are you voting for Hochman? Are you leaving it blank? How are you voting in the LA County DA's race, which some people are calling the most important race that the county has? 800-222-KABC. Let's go to Ken in Studio City. Ken, hello.
Hi, Randy. Good show. When Hochman threw his support to Harris, I think that was a serious problem of integrity, because Kamala Harris is responsible, one of the people responsible for Proposition 47. She's one of the people responsible for the serious problems we have for crime. And he didn't need to do that. I don't care what George Gascon says about him in the election. George Gascon could call him the Antichrist, and Hochman has such a comfortable lead, it wouldn't matter. So if George Gascon called him a Trumper, it wouldn't matter. Hochman is Machiavellian. He's got a problem with his character. So I cannot support him. So what I'm going to do tomorrow, I decided that I'm going to call the Registrar of Voters and see if we can write in a name. And if so, I'm going to write in Jonathan Hatami's name.
Well, you are well within your right to do that if that's how you feel. Ken, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. I mean, it's probably better than that than the people that want to write in like Bart Simpson, which does happen. Let's go to David in Pacific Palisades. David, hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing great.
You're asking if I would vote for Hochman or Gascon or leave it blank, right?
That's right.
Oh, would I vote for Hochman? But let me say one good thing, and only one good thing about George Gascon, that when I was looking to buy a home for my family and I, no other force greater than him, than Gascon, single-handedly forced my hand into buying a home in a gated community, given all the burgeoning crime rate that he's brought to our wonderful county. So that's the one good thing I can say about him. And while we're on the subject of George's, I'm afraid that if you look at a map of the United States and look at major metropolitan areas, it seems that there are more George Soros-funded DAs in major metropolitan areas than aren't. Even in the red state of Texas, all 4 of their metro areas are George Soros-funded DAs. San Antonio, Houston, Dallas. Austin. So that's my 2 cents, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, you enjoy yourself in your safe gated community. I'm glad George Gascon could do that for you. David, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. That is a great backhanded compliment. Let's go to Brian in West Hollywood. Brian, hello.
Yes, good to speak to you. I guess you're probably trying to find answers to questions that are plaguing people's thought process. Let me ask you, I noticed that the current issue between Gascon and Hochman, the mayor of Los Angeles has not expressed an endorsement for either of the two, neither one nor the other. But the mayor of Beverly Hills, right? But it's interesting. In 2020, the mayor of Los Angeles, Eric Garcetti, endorsed and very firmly at the very end did an endorsement for the current district attorney. And I'm wondering, why would the mayor of Los Angeles in 2020 express an approval, but the mayor of Los Angeles in 2024 is not expressing an approval, yet there are mayors of other cities that are expressing an okay for Nathan Hochman?
Well, I'll tell you this. There's a couple of things going on. The political climate in 2020 was very weird, very bizarre. And Eric Garcetti wanting to go with what he thought was popular at the moment, and what he thought was popular was the defund the police crowd. He actually rescinded his previous endorsement of the incumbent DA Jackie Lacey and decided to endorse George Gascon. Karen Bass was asked if she was going to be endorsing the recall of Gascon when she was running for mayor in 2022, said, I don't want to touch that issue with a 10-foot pole. She has strategically found reasons to not ever be on the same stage as him. She just did a big press conference with task forces from sheriff's departments and the FBI and the DA of Ventura County and Orange County, and not Gascon. She does not want to be seen with him. She won't openly say that she's supporting Hochman. She won't openly say if she's supporting Gascon, but she knows being seen with Gascon is politically toxic.
Right, and I think that that's a good analogy. I think overall, the way I have seen it so far is that Nathan Hochman has the endorsement of very, very important people in politics, as well as former members of city council and current members of various councils throughout LA County. So I definitely think that those people are going to influence a lot of voters. As to whether who's going to do a better job, Nathan Hochman will probably do a much thorough job. He'll do a much caring job, and it probably will be much more forthright in his decisions. And I think the vote for Hochman is going to help the county of L.A., and it's going to put an end to some of this extra leniency that Gascon likes or believes is proper. And I think that's going to be helpful once we get the final tally of the votes. We'll see the major difference in numbers, and then that should propel Nathan Hochman to say, yes, I was right all along.
Well, we're definitely going to see in just a few weeks. You make some great points there, Brian. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. It's going to be a message to the entire nation. How, after 4 years of this kind of DA, does LA County react? Are we endorsing it? Are we saying yes? Or are we saying hell to the no, we're not going back? Oh, that's somebody else's campaign strategy. Let's go to Larry in Torrance. Larry, hello.
Hello, Randy. Good show as usual. I am fully in agreement with you that George Gascon has been a disaster. Notwithstanding that, I am voting none of the above. And the reason I am is that it was Hochman who prosecuted the police officers in the wake of the LA riots. Officers Stacy Kuhn and Larry Powell, he got them convicted, sentenced to federal prison where Sergeant Kuhn was nearly assassinated. Subsequent to that, the two of them went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, and they won unanimously, including the vote of the liberal icon Ruth Bader Ginsburg. What that tells me is that in terms of contempt for police officers, Hochman is literally to the left of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I cannot vote for him.
Wow. Well, I appreciate that history lesson. That is definitely an important factoid that does not get discussed enough here. Larry, thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. Let's go to Steve in Playa Vista. Steve, hello.
Hi, Randy. How are you doing today?
Hey, doing great.
Good. I don't understand at all why anyone would vote for Gascon with the situation, the way things have unfolded. He's done such an awful job. The break-ins, the drive-aways, all of that stuff, the taking away the ability of the police to enforce the law is just nuts. I don't understand why anyone would go for him. Even his own staff pretty much all moved in the other direction, and most of them are backing Nathan Hochman. I think we need a fresh approach, namely law and order. And L.A. is an interesting place to live. It's beautiful here, but the idea that everybody's so worried, it doesn't even pay to call for help from the police half the time because, their attitude about it is so lax and they've got so much junk that they have to worry about that they just don't have time to come out. Or they figure, what's the point? They're just getting right back out again.
It's so funny what you mentioned. This might be one of the only situations where you have the head of an organization, the boss of 700, 800 people who openly are saying, we hate our boss and we hate him a lot.
Absolutely. I mean, how do you support? And the thing about people saying they're not going to vote, I really don't understand that. I mean, learn what you can about the person and make a decision. Otherwise, sitting on the fence is the same thing as, I don't even know how to describe it. It just doesn't make any sense. If you live in L.A. and you're really happy with the way the homeless stuff is being enforced, with the way the theft and the rest is up like crazy, then vote for that guy. If you're not, then go with Hochman. Even the part about that he endorsed Kamala, I just don't see how that makes a difference in our city. This is not a particularly political position. This is a law and order position. Would you agree, or what do you think?
I think that's a very important point, and it's one of the things that Hochman said he's running on. He wants to make this an apolitical office, is just about following and enforcing the law. So you make some really great points there, Steve. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. And you know what? Politics is a binary choice. In LA and California, with our top two system, sometimes it's a binary choice of bad choices, but you're going to get one or the other. So that is a very important point. But hey, it's your right to vote. It's your right to vote however way you want, and we're here to respect that. More of your calls coming up shortly. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. Who you voting for, Gascon, Hochman, or neither? Let's go to Dennis in Fontana. Dennis, hello.
Hi, I'm supposed to be voting for Gascon, and I'll tell you why. It really doesn't make a difference because the same people that are calling in and they're complaining about the shoplifters get let loose, the police don't come, the people sleeping on the street, the people doing everything else you want to think of in the street, they're the same people that's going to complain when their taxes go up, when they start putting everyone in jail. Since the state doesn't want to pay any more money for them to go to state prison, the county doesn't want to pay any more money to house them in the county, and LAPD doesn't want to keep hiring more and more officers that make $100,000 a year. So it's all a vicious cycle. You can blame it on union. You can blame it on the nature of politics in Southern California. You can point your finger anywhere you want, but the bottom line is the same people who are complaining are the same people who will be calling you complaining that their taxes is going up. So,
well, the good news for that is that I'm going to have more topics. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. Thanks for letting us know how you're voting. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. I got about enough time for two more calls, 30 seconds each. Let's go to Stan in Redondo Beach. Stan, you got 30 seconds. Stan going once. Hey, tell me who you're voting for.
Definitely not Gascon, and with my nose closed, probably Hochman, mainly because he said that I'd rather vote for a prosecutor than a felon. And I think that, I saw a lot of other people run for that position, and I heard some on TV or radio, and they sounded really well. But when it came to the advertisement or the promotion of themselves, I never saw any of these other people on TV. I think Hochman must have had more money or something.
Oh, he definitely had the money. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. 30 seconds, Chris in Westlake. Go. Chris. Bill in La Cañada, 20 seconds.
Randy, I listened to that strange Gascon Zoom quote in slow-mo. It sounds like he's accusing Hochman of thuggery. Listen, Hochman will try to win by slugging Newsom.
There you go. Thanks so much for the call, Bill. And Chloe Marina Del Rey, she says she's not voting. Sorry we couldn't get to everybody, but, we've only got an hour. See you tomorrow for another News Blitz, 5 to 6 every single day right here on Talk Radio 790 KABC.